it, baby.
Hey, tell him what you told me.
What I tell you?
What you doing it for?
Oh, promotion, baby.
Alright. So I ain't gotta
But we should spar.
I ain't gotta up.
We should spar.
The best. I want to show the world that I'm the best. After this fight, I want to be considered top 5 pound-for-pound fighter in the sport, and I can't wait to show it.
You said this week that you were in for a rude awakening when you get to 140. What do you think he's in for when he goes up against you?
I think he just don't realize how good I am. I think come fight night, he's going to realize that I'm going to take it to another level that he has never seen before. So if he's expecting the Lomachenko, the Josh Taylor fight to happen, it won't be that type of fight. Senior, tell him. We talking to Senior. We ain't talking to little dude over here. Senior,
fight is a different version of me.
I know.
And I love it because even the people out there don't know what they're going to get from me. And that's the beauty about it. He could be studying, he could be doing a lot of things, but he's not going to know till the day of the fight. So.
Terence Crawford confronts Teofimo Lopez with a stern warning, making it clear that overlooking Shakur Stevenson would be a massive mistake.
Sky is the limit with Shakur. He got the boxing skills and the ability to, do whatever he wants in the ring. And it's going to be very hard to beat Shakur, with the skills that he possesses and the smarts that he has. And given the opportunity, I think he can pose a great threat to everybody in the division.
I look up to Bud a lot. Honestly, he one of the realest dudes that I done met. He's still a normal person in his head. Like, he don't believe that he's above everyone else. And that's how I feel about myself.
You seen me around a lot. Oh, no. Don't act like you ain't seen me around them days. He said
Bud, come on. Terrence talking, I try not to talk back. I try to just listen and
straight boom, straight shot. Like right here, boom, there you go. But you gotta make sure you step. Bam. That's when the motherfucker trying to run out.
Terence Crawford confronted Teofimo Lopez directly in a tense exchange, challenging his mindset and questioning his approach toward Shakur Stevenson. The moment felt serious and uncomfortable, as Crawford made it clear that overlooking Shakur's ability could lead to real consequences inside the ring. Crawford confidently stated that Shakur Stevenson will show the world exactly what he is capable of when the moment arrives. He emphasized that Shakur's discipline, timing, and defensive awareness separate him from others at the elite level. According to Crawford, once Shakur steps fully into the spotlight, fans will clearly see his skill, patience, and control, and understand why he is considered one of the most complete fighters in boxing today. Crawford also reflected on his own past fights, drawing from his experience to underline the importance of focus, preparation, and respect for elite-level talent.
I'm gonna just say all of them. It don't matter who they is. He ready for the big test and the big names, and he's going to do well with each and every one of them. And
Dan Canobio and Chris Algieri broke down a potential Teofimo Lopez versus Shakur Stevenson matchup from both business and boxing perspectives. They explained that Matchroom's control of the Anthony Joshua card makes a crossover with PBC unlikely. The analysts suggested that if Teofimo were to lose, Shakur would remain at 140 pounds rather than moving back down to 135, a weight class fighters rarely return to once they move up. They also described the 140-pound division as deep, competitive, and full of exciting matchups. Canobio and Algieri noted that Shakur tends to struggle least against aggressive brawlers and would be more challenged by elite counterpunchers. Because of that, some highly anticipated fights may be unlikely to happen, despite strong fan interest. They also pointed out that Matchroom's involvement in the Joshua event plays a major role in shaping the landscape of these potential matchups. Analysts argue that the size difference could be a decisive factor in a potential Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez fight. Shakur is naturally bigger, with a longer frame, broader shoulders, and a stronger base. Even though Teofimo is the champion at the weight, Shakur's move to 140 pounds has not diminished his strength or control, and his body now appears fully settled in the division. They emphasize that size is not just about the number on the scale, but about leverage, balance, and how a fighter carries their mass. Shakur's height, reach, and composure allow him to control distance and slow the pace of the fight. In contrast, Teofimo relies heavily on explosive moments and power bursts, which become increasingly difficult to land cleanly against a larger, disciplined defender. If Shakur uses his size to lean, control space, and gradually wear Teofimo down, the dynamic of the fight could shift dramatically in his favor.
Excellent. You know, he was sharp. He was letting his hands go. He was standing in the pocket more. He probably got hit just a little bit too much because he was trying to please everybody that's saying, oh, he can't do this, he can't do that. I talked to him and told him, just be yourself. You know, just keep winning. It doesn't matter what the naysayers say and what the people that's having certain agendas against him.
Lopez emphasized that Shakur Stevenson is not a fighter who can be underestimated or easily controlled. Unlike many boxers who depend on brute strength or one-dimensional tactics, Shakur brings a multifaceted approach to the ring. He blends technical precision with sharp strategic intelligence, making him extremely difficult to predict. Bernie pointed out that opponents often misread Shakur, mistaking his calm demeanor and measured style for a lack of aggression or danger. In reality, Shakur's ability to adapt and read his opponent allows him to exploit openings instantly. This combination of patience, timing, and high-level skill gives him a clear advantage, especially against fighters like Teofimo Lopez, who would be facing a competitor that is not only highly talented but also exceptionally disciplined in executing his game plan.
The Joshua card, so therefore we're not going to put a PBC fighter on it. Anyway, Gary Antoine, I mean, all these fights are good. Like, if Teofimo ends up losing to Shakur, Shakur goes into this mix, and I do think Shakur will stay at 140 for a little bit. So, and you also have
I think he stays from now on. I don't think he goes back to 35.
Yeah, it's very rare we see these guys go down after they go up. You got to add in Shakur. You got to add in Pitbull Cruz. You got to add in Lamont Roach. There's some other good names on 140 as well. But yeah, I would say Smith presents something to this puzzle at 140 is that he's from England and he can sell over there. And if you're Hitchens, who's not the biggest ticket seller here in New York, and you want a unification, you think you can beat Dalton Smith, you might have to go overseas to do it, where you could make a lot more money. Gary Antoine Russell versus Smith stylistically is great. Shakur versus Dalton Smith is stylistically great. Shakur, it's just a fun division.
I don't want to see that.
What?
I don't want to see Shakur and Dalton.
I put that one at like 1% chance of ever happening.
I don't want to see that.
Even though, like, you don't think Smith presents like he's more of like would be the brawler in the Shakur scenario? I know he would be.
Yeah, that's the worst style to fight Shakur. It's the worst style. You have to counterpunch Shakur. Just like with De Los Santos. he was the guy who gave Shakur the most trouble.
Zepeda gave Shakur the best, most aesthetically pleasing fight, but not that Smith's going to throw 100 punches around.
Completely different style, though. Zepeda and Dalton aren't you can't compare them. That's apples and oranges. Yeah, no, I don't know.
But in terms of a guy coming forward.
But is Dalton really that?
Terence Crawford adds another layer to the assessment by praising Shakur Stevenson in a supportive, brotherly manner. Crawford notes that while some spectators may label Shakur as boring, that criticism overlooks the depth of his talent. Shakur's mastery in the ring is subtle but profound, controls the pace of a fight, makes intelligent strategic decisions, and stays defensively responsible while positioning himself to capitalize on his opponent's mistakes. Crawford emphasizes that true boxing fans recognize the brilliance behind Shakur's technique, pointing out that his skill set goes far beyond flashy combinations or highlight reel knockouts. According to Crawford, it is Shakur's calculated precision, defensive intelligence, and measured aggression that truly define him. He remains confident that anyone who underestimates Stevenson is failing to see the complete picture.
Shakur Stevenson is bigger than Teofimo Lopez, despite him moving up in weight and despite Teo being the champion. We got some action, and in this video, I'm going to show and prove and break it down. I'll make it make sense in this video. You got to stay to the end. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Ego Weight Watchers, a.k.a. Ew, where I give you a look into the fighter's lifestyle before, after progress pics, especially when they have an upcoming fight. I warned you, Shakur, I have no idea why he tried to play this game where when people got on.
Shane Mosley adds his perspective by focusing on fighting styles and how they could shape the outcome on fight night. According to Mosley, the deciding factor will be how each fighter's style translates inside the ring. He explains that power, speed, and patience all play critical roles, and it is the interaction between these elements that will determine who takes control. Mosley points out that Shakur Stevenson's patient, disciplined approach allows him to neutralize raw aggression, while Teofimo Lopez's explosive power and sharp timing are capable of testing even the most composed opponents. Ultimately, Mosley believes the key lies in how effectively each fighter can impose their game plan while adjusting to the other's strengths, making this matchup not just a test of skill, but of tactical intelligence as well.
But he couldn't beat a one-handed guy. And if you go back and watch that fight, like I'm saying, Shakur wasn't just running. Jermaine Ortiz really moved a lot on Teo. That never happened with Shakur Stevenson and fighting this guy. That never happened. So De Los Santos is De Los Santos. He got a reputation off of that. That boosted his reputation. I don't know why. He didn't do nothing to Shakur. He didn't wobble him, didn't hurt him, didn't do nothing. You know what I mean? And the man was one-handed. So, but shout out to De Los Santos. Like I say, I think he's more risk than reward. Actually, that'll be a great fight for Abdullah Mason in his first title defense. That'll be a great fight for him in his title defense. That'll be a good. They should use him for that
instead of Joe Cordina.
Yeah, Joe Cordina was rough too, though. I watched him against the kid from Fresno. What's the kid's name? I forget his name. They was pushing him, but he just ain't there. He took a lot of punishment. He probably need to go get a job. Gabriel Flores. Gabe Flores. Yeah. Gabe Flores.
From Vegas,
yeah. He from Fresno. Or he from Sacramento. He from the Bay Area.
He just be training. Yeah, he be training.
Yeah. So I would say I would say that, you know what I mean? Because Abdullah Mason is the guy. I think he got a lot of potential. And like I said, him fighting a guy like De Los Santos is almost like a Bud fighting Gamboa in his first title defense. You know what I mean? So that would be a great fight for Abdullah Mason. You know what I mean? And he's more known than Joe Cordina. You know what I mean? And given the controversy that he's been in, you know what I'm saying? The way he's perceived as kind of feared, that'll be a great fight for Abdullah Mason.
Damn, my boy Bernie said that's like Gamboa versus Crawford for his first title defense. That shit is fire.
Wade analyzes the matchup through the lens of preparation and film study, noting that both Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson have likely spent extensive time breaking down each other's styles. Given their similar paths through the amateur and professional ranks, there is a strong level of mutual familiarity between the two. This familiarity, Wade explains, creates a scenario where in-fight adjustments and countering will be crucial. Both fighters possess the technical foundation needed to execute complex strategies, making the ability to anticipate and react to an opponent's movements essential. As a result, the bout shapes up as a chess match in the ring, where subtle adjustments and split-second decisions could ultimately determine the outcome.
Shakur.
Are you saying that because that's your man and you don't like Tank?
No. Hey, like I said, I respect Tank. Boxing, he's one of the ones.
Yeah.
We're gonna take his personality and personal things out of it. But boxing, he's definitely talented. You know what I mean? And he's definitely got that it. And he's definitely respected in boxing. But Shakur is a different fighter. Shakur is different. People may call him boring. People may say he can't punch. But they say the same thing about Floyd. Because they defensive.